Hello, this is Professor York again. This is the second in the series on elements of a good marketing plan. This is going to be a shorter piece. It's going to be dealing with an important follow-on to our situation analysis, which is about objective setting. Now, I think that what we need to keep in mind is that successful plans contain the following elements, right? And this is going to be dealing with specifically the second step, which is objective setting. And the blueprint that we'll have is we're going to talk about SMART, revenue drivers, and examples. So from situation analysis comes the objective setting. And the first thing about objectives is they need to be SMART. So for those who've been in my class, you've heard me as we've reviewed your materials go, are they SMART? And folks go, what is SMART? Well, SMART is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it attainable? Is it relevant to what your core question that you're trying to do? So when you think about your framing of your objective, you have to think about your frame or the question to answer, the objective, and then ultimately your deliverables. But relevance is this objective even relevant to what we're trying to achieve from the original question? And last but not least is time-based. Oh, I want to double wine club membership. Okay, great. Well, what time period do you want to do it? Okay, so when you think about setting objectives, think about SMART. They're great from not just, and SMART was developed from a standpoint of what we call staff management and setting performance management objectives to, I think, apply to any type of business objective. So now that we talked about SMART, let's talk about drivers or revenue drivers. And this is important. So you have customers, okay? So you have this, we talked about in last, SAM, so we talked about TAM, SAM, SOM. So in many ways, the available customer population is your TAM. Your market share of the population may be the SOM that's there, okay? And then the size of the purchase. So you're having these drivers that are like, here's the core population, here's our market share, then we get the size of purchase per customer for each purchase. That's that individual purchase, times number of purchase per year per customer, and the average price per customer purchase. And these are key drivers that will allow you to understand what is driving revenue. So they'll help you actually forecast accurately what a revenue should be. So here's an example that we used for an oncology client, which we broke down to very simple 3 core drivers. Number of patients, and what we used is the segment that we were trying to penetrate, either naive patients or recurrent patients. That penetration. So if you had a population of 1 million patients and you get market share or segment penetration of 25%, then that's your penetration. But there are other drivers. So you have the patients coming through. Now, if you have a patient who's being treated for cancer, they're not just getting one cycle of chemotherapy. They're probably getting multiple cycles. And you see in the first yellow box the number of cycles that are there, okay, on an annual basis. And then you have what we call number of cycles, and then you have what we call WAC. And WAC is the wholesale acquisition cost of the cycle, not the individual drug, but of the cycle of the average cycle and the average cost of the drugs that are in that cycle. So you get a base price. And that gives you a sense of what the revenue is. And actually in this model, we were actually looking at a particular drug. So that was the WAC price of the drug in that cycle. So that gives you sort of a feel for what the revenue that's being driven, which is not, I'll take that. I'd be very happy with that. I think all of us would be happy with that. But as you see in terms of market penetration, how you can grow that. Okay, so both. And when we do market models, actually when we do objectives, you go best, worst, and actually you should be taking a stab in terms of ideal case as well. Here's another example. This is on a eye care app. And what we've done is we've looked at traffic, and we're looking at over a year time period. So what we're looking at the web traffic coming into the traffic, and we're looking at unique visits. We're looking at out of that traffic and visits, what are the leads that come, because we're looking at call to action when people come to the website and want to sign up. But then the next step is in terms of downloads. There. And then ultimately what we're looking for is the uses per download, which is really what's sold at the end of the day. So as I've talked about in previous discussions about the funnel, we're really trying to, from this traffic down to download and use, we're moving our customers through the funnel. All right? And that's not only the downloads, which are the funnel, but also for each download that you're getting, how many times it's being used. And that translates to, so uses per download times download gives you total uses, which are the total sales, total selling situations, okay, where there is a purchase that has been done. And then you could put a price. So it gives you a sense of, okay, what is the price based on, and what's the total sales based on a $5 price in this case, and the number of uses. So as you can see, the big driver in this marketplace is the number of uses, and it's not just the downloads, which is going to give you a number of customers coming through, but which is that acquisition point in the marketing funnel, but how many times that they're going to use it through the purchase relationship. Let's make it a little more clear, and this will be the last example in terms of setting market model. And this I'm going to translate to and share in terms of the wine business, since we have several wine clients. So first and foremost is you look at the first 3 lines in this model. Those are basically what we call your market model. Available wine drinkers are your TAM, your wine drinkers who visit wine regions are your SAM, and your wine drinkers who visit wine regions, who visit Paso Robles, is your SOM. So now you've honed into available population that's there. And you can bring it down even further in terms of your market share in terms of SOM, which is really the market share that goes to my winery that I want to capture. So as you can see, I can have 13,200 visits, okay, from customers. So then we have the coming into the funnel. So you understand the concept of the marketing funnel. Then we have what we call conversion rate, which means basically how many of the patients who come, individuals who come into that funnel that we can convert into a purchase. Single, double bottle, multiple bottle, wine club. And you can define that. We're just saying purchase. And so we had a third of those visits go to funnel conversion, which, think about it, you go to a wine tasting room, a lot of people do taste, they pay their $5, $10, $15 tasting fee, and they move on. But what our goal here is, are we converting these individuals from testers, tasters, to actual, now, ongoing customers? We can take that further. So now here's the drivers, which is the number of individuals who are actually converted customers. So that's now customers. And then you can then go, okay, for each customer, how many bottles on average will they buy? Which you see is 4 bottles. So you can convert that into units per purchase. And then you can then go and say number of purchases per customer per year. Okay, so you see 3 times the size of customer purchases. So all of a sudden, boom, we're at to 52,000 per year in terms of bottles. Then you tie in your average price per bottle, which is sort of a blended price. But out of that, you can get a pretty good top line forecast and objective for your top line revenue, which is your basically gross revenues, okay, which is sales. And you could do net revenues if you look at discounts, okay. I've blended that in terms of your average price. So we have that. So then we get into adding your cost drivers, which is a cost of goods sold. It's percentage of revenue. We deduct that out. We get our gross profit. Then we go to SG&A. We deduct that out. We get our net profit. We go and add in back our depreciation. And guess what? We have earning before income tax, etc. So that gives you free cash flow that is there before you get taxed. So the point is that setting objectives can help you really define what you're shooting for, but setting objectives should have core drivers. So with that said, I think we've covered the second key step, which is objective setting, and set the stage for, well, how do we achieve our objectives, which gets into strategy. We'll talk to next. Have a good evening, and thanks for your attention. I look forward to seeing you.